Yeah, what happened with the cat, Mark? Yeah. So basically, moved into new house. Previous owners took their cooker. Big gap in the kitchen where you can go behind under the cupboards, which cats love to do. Been doing it all week. Anyway, cooker gets delivered today, gets fitted, making cup of tea for nice people fitting the cooker from AO. I'll give them a shout out. Hey, oh, let's go. They fit the cooker. I'm on the United Stand doing the preview, and daughter sends me a message. She's just got back from horse riding, and she says the cat is behind the cupboards. We can't get him out because the cooker's really heavy. So had to end the stream and find it. Basically, I've kicked a hole in a cupboard because I've got a wand of a left foot. I've got a foot like a traction engine, and he still won't come out now because he's probably scared of the noise. But he'll be out at some point. He's not in the cooker. I think some people were getting a bit concerned about that. It's like that would be. Actually, I've just been testing the cooker. That would be impossible. No, it's not. That's not what's happened. It's definitely not what's happened. AJ says, I got a mohawk when I was 16 and my dad wouldn't let me in the house. I got my ear pierced when I was 16 and my stepdad broke the door down to get it out of my ear. He says, if you don't take it out, I'm going to rip it out. I thought it was over the top at the time, but I actually respect it because I'm really glad that it came out very, very quickly. And the stupid thing about it was, I don't really understand why he didn't want me to have one, because he had one when he was my age. But basically, I was around my girlfriend's house, and we were just talking about having my ear pierced. And she said, well, I can do it. So I spent about 10 minutes with a piece of ice on my ear, and then she just stuck a sterilised needle in, and then popped the stud in, and that was it. And then I went home, and they went mad. And they were like, if you don't take it out, I'm going to rip it out. So I went and locked myself in the bathroom. And I was like, well, I'm not taking it out. And then it was like, you are. And then I just did. And then I had a sore ear. I don't know why I did it. I don't know why I did it. You do stupid things, don't you? But that is a true story. I came that close to having an earring. I had an earring for about half an hour, basically. Imagine if I had an earring now. A big bloody Pat Butcher one. Did you find out where Maz Meowie was? Parker, that's very good. Maz Meowie. Yeah, my cat infiltrated meowing yesterday morning on the United Stand morning show. And I couldn't figure it out because Seb had an inset day, so he wasn't at school. So he had the cat upstairs with him. And I could hear this meowing, so I thought the cat was under the floorboards. So when I finished the stream, I looked out the window and he was outside, meowing outside my window because it was cold. But it threw me a little bit. I remember one year I was an apprentice and not a Jedi. I was an apprentice and they had us working on Christmas Eve until 1 o'clock. And then it was like, you can finish early if you come to the pub. And I'm like, I'm down the pub at 3 o'clock and I'm like, I just want to go home and watch Die Hard, you know? See this on my head? Like a bit of redness there. Old, I'm getting old, mate. That's what's happening. Stupid bridge. I basically was going on a chair to look at the top of a blind that was coming down, like a window. What do they call it? A curtain rail. Climbed up on the chair and didn't do the maths of how tall I am and how tall the chair is. So I went and stood on the chair, and as I stood up, I whacked the ceiling. Just thick. Absolutely stupid. And it really hurt. I'm not going to talk about Santa, but you know Elf on the Shelf? Well, let me do this tactically. Elf on the Shelf is this thing that you can do for your kids every night in December, and they're up to something naughty. So Seb's got 2, and last night one of them tangled their legs in a whisk and the other one was holding it off the kitchen table, and then there was a little note saying, we whisk you a Merry Christmas. Anyway, the night before they were playing tabletop football on Seb's tabletop football game, and instead of using the ball, they were using one of these Cadbury's round chocolate balls, which are called Christmas puddings. Anyway, I went in the cupboard this afternoon and I found the box of these Christmas puddings. I mean, I don't know why the elves bought a box of them and put them in our cupboard, but by the by, it leads to the story of I tried one of these Cadbury's Christmas puddings, which is basically a chocolate, but inside it's got like, I think it's like a hazelnutty sort of mousse. Oh, chocolate puds they're called, Jack. Amazing. My find of the Christmas period so far. Absolutely fantastic. If Gary Barlow ate one, he'd go, absolutely fantastic. Could it be magic now? These Christmas puddings are what a way to spend an afternoon. He'd love it. They're really nice. They're really nice. The problem is, I think they're calorific. And I easily could have just chucked about 4, one after the other with a cup of tea. So I only had one. Earliest I've ever opened my presents is 4 o'clock in the morning. I'd literally been taking the dog a walk the week before, talking about Sensible World of Soccer, which was the first computer game to have a managerial bit in it. So it's like career mode. And Sensible Soccer was a brilliant game, but then they had this career mode thing. And I'd take the dog a walk and I'd be talking to myself going, I mean, it's mad to think of me talking to myself, isn't it? I mean, who would have thought? And I'd be like, you know what? It's important we start the season well. I'm looking at this player from here, this player from that. I woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning because I knew I was getting the game. And I set it all up at 4 o'clock, opened up a selection box. It was rock hard. And not just the game, I was that excited. It was rock hard game. There was no difficulty levels on Sensible Soccer. It was literally the game. You had to get good at it. And I think I lost my first 9 games. And then I didn't score in any of them. And then my first goal, I put a corner in and Mark Hughes got his head on it into the top corner. It was about 5:30 in the morning. I woke up the street. I literally ran around the house. Loved it. Yeah, first time I got winded was in my grandparents' front garden. We were playing football. It was on wet grass. Went to head it, slipped, and landed right on my back. And I was like, takes all the air. It's a weird thing, isn't it, winded? It just takes all the air out of your lungs for a bit. I had a mate, right? This is a true story. If you ever went into the work toilets, he always used to have a cigarette. And we found out quite early. He said, I have to smoke when I go for a shit because I can't stand the smell of my own shit. I said, that's really weird. Normally people don't, it's not like you enjoy it, but it's not normally a problem. But I also think as well, I'm very proud of myself when I buy Christmas presents that I always try to buy something that looks good to open. I can't stand the fact that when I was younger and I was getting presents, I'd say, oh, get me this DVD or get me this CD. You can't do that anymore. You can't do that anymore, can you? So, like, one of my kids was like saying to grandparents and stuff, oh, just get me the money. And it was like, oh, we'll transfer it into your bank account. And I was like, oh, the joy of Christmas. There's nothing physical at all. It's just, 30 quid in your bank account that appears. How are you going to open that? She said, well, yeah, I just, I quite like to open stuff at Christmas.